1.
Good evening. Today is October 25. It is about 6:01 p.m. and this is the City of Troy Council Committee meetings. And today this is the Streets and Sidewalks Committee. And to my right is Councilwoman Lynn Snee. Mr. Schilling is absent tonight, and I am Bob Phillips, the chair of this committee. Our first item this evening is a report or staff discussion on providing a recommendation to council regarding increasing the authorization for the purchase of water meters for 2021. And Mr. Titterington, are you going to?
We are asking that you increase the authorization. In 2019, council authorized us to bid for a 3-year program of water meter replacements as well as new construction supply, not to exceed $180,000 per year. We're in the 3rd year of that, and found out that because of the chip and other supply chain issues, we are not able to get our allotment that we had hoped to. It's actually been dwindling over a period of time, and so we've been kind of jockeying and cutting back on the ones that were replaced, but now we're to a point where we're not going to be able to keep up with new building construction because we supply the meters and the developers pay for those meters. The model that we specified in the bid is on a 52-week delay. We are in the queue. We have encumbered the money to purchase those. In the meantime, though, they do have a slightly different model that we can get a supply of. The law director has said that if council authorizes this increase because of the supply chain issues, because they are immediately available, and because we want to stay in the queue, because once that 52 weeks or less, hopefully it's less, is up, we will be able to get back to our normal routine, that we do need an increase of $50,000 to purchase those additional meters, which then takes us up to $230,000. So in essence, we're front loading. We're not doubling up on the supply. We're just trying to keep enough inventory and stock in place to continue with our work programs. And we are asking for emergency because we are getting low.
Gotcha. I am assuming then that these new model meter are compatible with all of the electronics and the signals and the information flow back and forth and that sort of thing, that we're not going to have any software issues.
The different primary, one of the primary differences between this model and the one that we are getting normally is that the normal model has the radio, the AMR integrated in it. This will take staff to install those on top of them. It'll take a little bit more time, but it'll be just as good, and it is compatible.
And they won't be any taller, so the folks that mowing won't clip off any more than they already have.
It should not be, no.
I don't have any other questions to you, Mrs.
Just are we purchasing these as needed so that if we do move up in that 52-week queue, we will then get the other models? I mean, we're not just buying a whole 3-year supply?
No, not a whole 3-year supply. We're going to buy the allotment of the $50,000 to get us back up to the inventory we need.
Okay.
And by the time, hopefully it's 32 weeks and not 52 weeks, we'll be at a point where we'll need to restock anyway.
And then you'll get those. Okay.
And this is a supplier that is mentioned here, the contractor. Is that a supplier? He's not the one that is actually coming out and doing work.
He's not the manufacturer or the installer, no.
Right.
We install those ourselves. Correct.
And our folks are actually the folks that do the installations.
Correct.
Correct, okay. Any other council folks have any questions on this item?
You guys covered my questions.
No? All right, thank you. Anybody else in the audience have any questions on this item? What is your pleasure with this?
Move forward with emergency.
Okay, it is unanimous with the committee here that we move forward with emergency as requested. And our second item, let me scroll down here. I'll get to it eventually. And we're going to talk about an MVRPC Federal FAST Act grant application for North Elm Street and East Main Street resurfacing projects. And again, Mr. Titterington.
Sure. So MVRPC is our metropolitan planning organization. They handle all the major transportation grants on our behalf. We are members of that organization. FAST Act is the umbrella federal program that regulates all the procedures under which we receive congestion mitigation and other types of funds. We had two sources of funds with relatively short time to apply for grants. One was a release of some additional surface transportation program funding that became available, and the other is related to the ARPA funds that they are at least part of the same federal borrowing that they've done to increase the amount available. With regards to the ARPA funds, the federal funds, North Elm Street is what we've applied for. That is approximately $450,000 estimated cost, of which we are asking for $200,000. The reason we're doing that is the higher the match, the better our chances of scoring high enough. That would take us from, that would resurface from Main Street to the north boundary to the Morgan ditch. The other one is STP funds that became available. That is East Main Street out to the Broadford, whatever that bridge is. That is we're asking for $750,000 against a $1.45 million project. We are asking for emergency legislation so that we can confirm with MVRPC that we have the authorization to apply.
Got it. These two streets have come up, or were up on top of our grading list to be completed, is that?
East Main Street has been targeted for a next phasing once we get done with Stanfield and the intersection of Experiment Farm and Main Street. So it is getting up there. It's not a critical one, but it is high enough that, and this is the type of project that MVRPC likes. Elm Street is, we are noticing some issues with it, and so resurfacing it will allow us to keep on top before it crumbles or deteriorates any further.
Got it. Thank you. Mrs. C?
I don't have any further questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other council folks have any questions on this item? Okay. Anybody else in the audience have any questions on this item? All right. What is your pleasure with this?
Move forward.
It is unanimous with the committee as represented here.
With emergency.
To move forward with the emergency designation.
Okay.
And
That would be all.
that we have no further items to come before the Streets and Sidewalks Committee.
Yes, sir.
And then we are adjourned. Thank you.